Hello and welcome to another edition of Don't Plug In That Old Radio. On the bench today we have a contribution from viewer Larry T. I don't think he wants his whole name out there. And he told me this was coming and he said it was purple. And he wasn't kidding. This is purple. The glass is out, the back is off, and he has recapped this. He was planning on doing a restoration, and he said he ran into an issue where it's oscillating and he can't seem to get rid of the oscillation. And we went back and forth in a couple emails. I made a couple of suggestions. Well, it looks like something's run right down across the front of this. That's a shame. Anyway, when I looked up the model number, I was expecting one of these Bakelite radios, but this is the X5 edition. I read it somewhere in here. So this came in several different variations, dash numbers, X-5, X-10, and so on and so forth, different cabinets. And this one's entirely wood. And it's a shame about the big dents. Chunks missing out, but this could be cleaned up. This would actually not be a bad looking set if the color wasn't quite so purple. But he asked if I could do anything with it. He had given up on it and he said it's yours. Cabinet, the glue joints are failing, but that's not really an issue. This would glue back together rather nicely. Looking in the back here, this thing looks very clean. I have the knobs. He sent along the knobs. He sent along the glass for the front. Everything's here. And what I'd like to do is get this fixed and get it back to him. But he said he was having a lot of trouble getting the paint off, so I'll try a couple of paint strippers and maybe give him a suggestion. But I've got so many radios now that I've got more coming. I've got more people who have told me they're sending me radios. I'll be here for the rest of my life. But come summer, I'm probably going to want to get out of the basement and get back on the Harley and start looking into getting preparations made to get back over to Asia this fall. That is, if our friends over in China haven't decided to attack Taiwan. A lot of people think it's not going to happen, but that dictator that calls himself president is trying to cement his power base, and he's been promising to attack Taiwan for several years now. And the main thing in Asia is losing face, so if he doesn't make it, he will lose his seat of power, and he's not going to do that. He's too much of a despot. At any rate, I'll stop soapboxing here. I know half of you don't believe me, but after spending 40 years in Asia, I've got a pretty good handle on what's going on. Okay, let's see what we've got. Got a nice clean speaker, nice clean chassis. We'll get some protection over that right away. And a very neat job of recapping. I see a new filter. I see some orange drops. I see some of these dipped polys. Very neat, clean job. Nice going, Larry. Let me get some protection on the speaker and get some power on this set and see what we've got to deal with here. Come on, where's the off button? And as I'm looking things over here, just before I put power on, I'm thinking one of the things I'll do to it while it's here is put a surge suppressor in. He beat me to it. Someone out there is listening. Okay, since I don't know the set, I'm going to bring it up on the Variac. I'm sure it's fine, but the thing to do is proceed with caution here. He said he's already had the set on numerous times, but okay, we got 140 milliamps, that's good. bringing it up. Yeah, I'm seeing the pilot light starting to come on. And 40 milliamperes. There we go. We got a little bit of a hum. He's got all new caps in here. I wonder if we have a heater to cathode leak. Bring the voltage right up. 210 milliamperes. So at 230 milliamperes, okay.
A lot of clouds throughout the day. It does look primarily dry, though. We may have a little bit of drizzle here and there. We'll high of 43. And then for tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with areas of fog. Low tomorrow night down to 38. And then Thursday.
That's an awful lot of hum.
Rain and drizzle at times. Still kind of mild. Thursday's high of.
And it's there with the volume. Okay, it's only there with the volume up. It's not with the volume down, so it's probably not the filter. If it was a bad filter cap, it would probably hum with the volume down. I'm thinking heater to cathode leak. Okay, I'm going to kill the power. Is this a 50L6? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. 35L6, okay. I'm gonna grab the tube tester and see if we have a heater to cathode leak. And actually, since it goes away when the volume's turned down, it's probably not the 35L6. I'm not using my head here. Could be the detector. Let's see. I've got several schematics here. I've got to find the one that's easiest to look at. Yeah. Check the IF amps as well. Something's passing hum down the line, and it's going through the volume control. So it actually is probably before the detector as well. We'll check them all. Let me run through the tubes real quick and see what I find. Okay, we still have our hum. That buzzing is the damn camera. But as you can hear, we still have the hum. If we tune to a station.
Of the case making its way through the Supreme Court, and I believe we are going to get a decision here.
You can hear that gargly distortion.
I mean, this is plain letter of the law.
AC is somehow getting in. I still say the AC is getting into the RF chain somewhere. We tested all the tubes for heater to cathode leakage. Didn't find any. Doesn't mean that's 100% true, because the tube tester can only do so much. But to back that up, I replaced the 3 tubes, the RF, the oscillator, detector, first detector, and the IF tube with tubes I had in stock. Hum was still there. Again, that doesn't prove anything. They're 70-year-old tubes, but even new old stock tubes off the shelf can have heater to cathode leakage, but there was absolutely no change. So I don't think it's a heater to cathode leak. But somehow something is getting into the RF chain here. My next point I'm going to go to, the next common cause for this problem, squeals, hums, oscillations. We already saw this on another set. Is somehow it's getting into the AVC line. Now, let's see if we come to our second detector. All right, that anode is grounded. This one, okay, D2 comes down through the IF transformer. That's our audio chain. Our AVC will be picked off here. This is the first stage of our filter, is a 2.2 megohm. Let's see where our bypassing is taking place. We've got a capacitor that goes to chassis ground here, 0.035. What else have we got? Let's trace it around, see where it goes. We've got, no, the 15 meg should isolate that somewhat. We have another 0.01 going to ground over here. And is that a bypass? No. So we've got 2 bypass caps we have to track down at least. And in fact, there's usually another one right on the AVC line of a few picofarads. Oh, here we go. Probably, yeah, 120 picofarads right here. So we have 120 picofarads stripping off RF off the AVC. And we've got a 0.035 and a 0.01. Now these are not chassis ground. These are B plus common ground. This set actually floats. The speaker is actually grounded. Do we have anything else that goes to an actual chassis ground on this? I haven't spotted anything. Everything else is on a floating neutral or floating negative bus. But just to see if it's coming in through the AVC, let's find this 2.2 megohm resistor. And if I ground this line here on this side, the audio chain should still work. We'll just lose AVC action, and if it's AC on that, the noise should go away. We are recording. Okay, we are recording. Let me find a jumper here. Alright, we've got a jumper. Now what I have to do is find a point of floating. Alright, if we come off that minus, this line here, yeah, I want a convenient place. Well, I'll try it from down here. This is an awful long ways away from the AVC line, but let's ground right on there. That's common ground.
Made an offer, even if they think they know who they're going to pick. The willingness to give you an interview always leaves open the possibility that minds will be changed.
Okay, we want to come off. Turn this down. 12SQ7 pin 2, 1, 2. All right, then we come down through the IF transformer to the 2.2 meg. There's the IF transformer. I'm betting it's this 2.2 meg right here.
That always just claim that there is some force arrayed against
Listen to
you,
that.
especially if you've been remarkably successful, as this guy had. I mean, 38 years old, multimillionaire.
The hum is gone. That's from the camera. No more hum. Hear the hum? Hum is gone. So we have a problem somewhere, and why is that tied to the power switch? Our AV, I shouldn't go in there with a pencil, that's conductive. Where's a probe I can go in there with? There we go. our AVC line right here. Boy, that camera's noisy, huh? The AVC line, we've got, oh, there's probably our 200 picofarad cap right here. Does that go to ground? Is that a ground? No, that's not a ground, so that's probably not it. Maybe it's that one? I'll have to trace it out. But obviously,
job. You just didn't get the one that you wanted with the Giants, and that's also, there is no business book in the history of
our distortion is gone.
that has created more
The AC hum is gone.
than the NFL.
So by grounding the AVC, we've eliminated that hum, or that oscillation, if you will. It's getting into the RF line. It's getting into the RF amp, the IF amp, and probably the converter as well. Are we running AVC to the converter on this one? Yes, we are. The AVC goes to the converter, the RF amp, and the IF amp. So we have three sources, three places where we're injecting hum into the chain. So what I have to do next is trace out the entire AVC line, identify all of the bypass capacitors, and we'll check them one by one. So I'm going to take a few minutes here and study this thing and figure out where all the bypass caps are located. I'll be okay, back. I've spent a few minutes looking around trying to locate this 0.035 capacitor that should be on this line and should return to B plus ground, common, and I'm not spotting it. The only thing I can think, Larry, is maybe you forgot that one cap. Up here I've tacked in a 0.033, and this is our common ground, and I'm just going to touch it. Hear that clear up?
Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job,
and if I take it out,
call the Poison Helpline first.
our hum is back.
Free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number.
Perfect.
Save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Now I know you said keep this radio. I'm not going to do that. The work that I've seen inside of here is beautiful. I mean, to be perfectly honest, it looks better than the work I do. And I'm not saying that to massage your ego. I'm a little bit embarrassed when I look in here and take a look at the work I do. Everything's dressed nicely. You know, I do put the sleeving on, but I mean, you've just done a marvelous job. The little tie wraps, the heat shrink. You've done an awesome, awesome job on this set. It looks fantastic. I want to see that cabinet finished by the same guy who did this work. I'm going to tack solder this in. I'm just going to leave it right there, and I'm going to let you track down. If I've missed that 0.035 somewhere, I'm sorry, but it just looks like it's missing to me. So I'm just going to tack this in. I'm going to do some ugly repair here. That capacitor is tacked in place across the AVC line, and I'll let you decide where you want to put it, or where, you know, where in the circuit. I've tracked the AVC line down here and I can't find that cap, so I think maybe it just got overlooked. You do beautiful work. You're welcome to work on any of my sets anytime, to be honest. And we're going to go over and look at the cabinet briefly. I've got something to show you on that as well. Okay, I spent a few minutes on this thing last night trying different things, and I made a little dam here on the paint, and I put straight acetone in a little pool. I put straight lacquer thinner in a little pool, and I tried 2 different types of paint stripper. And after about half an hour, all I managed to do was clean the paint. It wouldn't touch it. This stuff must be some sort of magic purple unicorn paint. I don't know. Nothing touched it. Then I tried something else, and in just a few minutes managed to strip these areas off. I used heat. Now this is not a paint stripping gun. This does not produce enough BTUs to be very effective. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to heat this area up. And it's going to take a while because, again, this is not it's not the correct tool. This is used for my heat shrink work. Home Depot sells those high temperature, high volume, power, high BTU units that are specifically for stripping paint. And this is just slow as death because it doesn't have, again, enough. It just doesn't have enough BTUs. See if I can do this one-handed here while I keep the heat on them. I'm just putting a little piece of wood here so I've got something to push against when the paint does come up to temperature. There we go. We still in frame? Yeah. And again, if you've got the right heat gun, this goes really quick. I am on the heat setting, aren't I? Yes. Yeah. This heat gun is just too slow. The real ones, the trouble with this is it's heating everything up. The real ones get the surface so hot so quick that the heat really doesn't travel into the wood very far. Alright, I'm going to bring you back when this thing's warmed up. Okay, this is finally starting to warm up. And again, this doesn't have nearly enough heat to soften the paint fast enough, but it'll give you an idea. There we go. See how it's peeling off? And you got to be kind of careful that you don't dig into the wood, but it's taking it down to the bottom layer, which I'm sure a good paint thinner or a paint remover will take care of that last layer. And we're pretty much down to bare wood in some places here. Once you get it up to temperature, it goes pretty quick. Any of this soft? No. This just doesn't have enough heat. But it softens it right up and peels right off, and you get the knife good and hot as well. That helps. So that's how I did the front and those parts of the louvers. It actually went pretty quick once I finally got it up to temperature. Yeah, it's good and warm now. But it takes, with this gun, it just, this is designed for heat shrinking and it's not designed for paint removal. There we go, peeling right off. Of course, I've got the knife good and hot at this point. In fact, that might be the whole secret, is just get the knife good and hot. Yeah, that appears to be the trick. That peels it right off. In fact, I'd say that is the trick. Look at that. Having the edge of the knife hot. Alright, now this is not sharp. It's plenty hot now, but this is not sharp. It's just a very thin blade. I do have it chamfered down to an edge, but it's not a sharp edge. You don't want it so sharp that you're cutting the wood. You just want it sharp enough to come up against the edge of the paint. Yeah, I think that might be the trick, just heat the knife up. But I did all of this up here and these parts. It took me about 5 minutes once I got going. Once everything got warm and the knife got hot, I was able to just run right down the length of this. Of course, the difficult part's going to be over here in the corners, but I'm sure just looking at your work, you're going to come up with some trick for that as well. So I'm going to box this back up, and I want to see this finished. I want to see somebody, you know, somebody who's done that excellent work in the radio. I want to see your cabinet when it's done. So you're either going to make a video or send us some still pictures of this when it's finished, okay? Alright, to start the video one more time, I was doing some experimenting. And if I keep that blade hot, it just takes the paint right off. Once you get it started, I'm going to get the blade good and hot. There it goes. Once the blade's good and hot, look at it come off. Heat the blade up again. And again, if you've got a true heat remover gun, or a paint remover gun with a lot of heat, this job will go pretty quick. This just doesn't have enough BTUs. Yeah, this is actually kind of fun now. It's going pretty well. Alright, that's enough of that. Okay, we're going to wrap up this video. Larry, we want pictures of this when it's done. Most of the glue joints have failed. I would just break this thing into pieces and strip it down and then put everything back together. The glue joint down here has failed. Of course, this piece slides out. A couple of glue blocks on the front and this side. This ought to knock apart. From what I'm seeing, you can probably break this down completely. It'll make it a whole lot easier to clean in these corners. If this piece is removed, you'll be able to get into this edge. You do beautiful work. And I want to see you finish this thing up, okay? I'm the Radio Mechanic. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.